What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live. Sorry for the late start time. Got stuck in traffic. If you've been driving around Portland, or at least North Portland / Vancouver today, you would know that the traffic is insane. So, working, dealt with traffic, a little bit late on the graphics. We got 10 games for picks against the spread today, so we're just going to dive straight into that quickly here as it is 4 p.m., and then we're going to discuss Ben Simmons, we're going to discuss coaching, all the stuff that has been talked about on Blazers Twitter today. That's what we got. Eric, how you doing?
I'm good, man.
That's good. I've had a good day, too. Just been a little rushed trying to get this stream started, so let's just jump straight into things. Picks against the spread, standings. These are the standings today. I tried to claw my way above 500. I didn't, but it's still pretty jam-packed. Jackson's still up top. Reese is threatening 2 games back. Trevin 3 games back. Zach 5 games back. I'm 7. Eric and Chat are tied at 8 games back, and then Chris is a whopping 15 games back. That's tough. Chris won't join us today, but he submitted his picks last night, so maybe we won't have any bold islands from Chris today because he can't base his picks off what other people pick. If you look at last Monday, a lot of people went 2-4. Reese and Trevin went 3-3. Chat went 1-5. That is picks against the spread standings. Let's jump into game number 1. We got Philadelphia heading into Charlotte. Probably a lot of players out in this one. Eric, what is the situation here?
Yeah, so Philly is, of course, without Ben Simmons. Grant Riller's been out all year as well. And late scratch is Tyrese Maxey was scratched due to an illness. They haven't announced what that illness is yet. But the Hornets are ravaged with COVID right now. They have Rozier, LaMelo Ball, Jalen McDaniels, Mason Plumlee, and Ish Smith all out of this game.
Do you have any idea what the starting lineups are for either of these teams?
Yeah, so the Sixers are starting Milton along with their normal starting lineup of Curry, Green, Harris, and Embiid. And the Hornets are starting Gordon Hayward at point, Caleb Martin at the 2, Oubre at the 3, Nick Richards at center, and I forgot who the other one. I can find out really quick.
That's rough. Yeah, you don't need to. It's just it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to...
Bridges, of course, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to send you Krish's picks. You can relay them back. Okay. Krish went Hornets for this one.
All right. Reese went 76ers.
All right, let me pull the stream up on my phone.
The Hornets are also coming off a back-to-back as well, if that matters to anyone.
You said Reese went Sixers?
Yeah, I'm also going 76ers.
All right, I'm also going 76ers.
Someone said Alex says your audio sounds lower than mine.
Does it? Weird. Let me mute it and turn up my mic dial. Is that better? Hopefully. I could just be talking quieter. I don't know. In the past, people have said you're quieter than me, so that's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's better though. All right, Trevin goes Sixers. Jackson and Zach we're waiting on.
Zach is on Hornets.
What's Jackson going?
76ers.
Jackson goes Sixers. Zach goes Hornets. And then I'm going to end chat poll and head straight on to the second game. It looks like it's going to be 76ers. The percentage will be in chat. Eric, Christian, Zach alone going with the Hornets in this one. Let's move on to game number 2. You got Oklahoma City heading into Detroit. A battle of bottom feeders. Detroit is a 3-point favorite.
So Oklahoma City Thunder actually have no injuries listed for this game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was initially ruled out, and then he was cleared with concussion protocol a few hours ago and is going to play. They get Giddey back. I thought there was someone else that was injured. So, yeah, pretty healthy for the Thunder. The Pistons are without Kelly Olynyk still, and then joining him out of this game are Corey Joseph and Sheik Diallo.
Sheik Diallo's in the league still?
No, I'm just kidding. Amadou Diallo. I was
going to say.
You were paying attention. Good.
Well, what's funny is Detroit is the one team where like players go where you forget they're still in the league.
Yeah,
so it was like, oh, of course, Sheik Diallo is playing for the Pistons, man.
Gotcha.
You're funny.
I'm going Thunder.
All right. Just if you can have I still got to put in the team logos for future slides, so I'm going to do that right now. If you can have rapid fire ready for the logos once I'm done.
Okay. So don't announce it. Let me know when you want me to.
Yeah. Just, that's probably the easiest way to go.
All right.
I just want to get caught up on this. We got Bulls, we got Nuggets. Yeah, so if you hear a lot of clicking, I can mute. I'll mute for this because there's a lot of clicking being done right now.
Man, Jared, I saw this that the Blazers are favored against the Celtics the other night, and I went to my Oregon lottery account, and I had a promo code to match up to like $25, and I was gonna put it all on the Celtics, but like. It does this stupid thing sometimes where it times out a lot, and it kept timing out, and it wouldn't accept my deposit until like the Celtics were already up 10, and then the spread had all changed and stuff, and so wasn't able to get that easy money, fortunately. But yeah, picking against the Blazers right now seems like a smart thing to do.
It's the smart way to go.
Yeah.
Probably. But maybe not today. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe they'll be inspired after what happened, after their embarrassment. Maybe that'll give them energy for a single game. You know?
Chicken bees, that's a terrible trade. What do you...
We'll talk trades in a second. Let's get through this. All right, so what are the picks? I am now caught up on everything. I'm going OKC.
Okay, so I'm joining you.
All right.
Zach is joining you.
All right.
Trevin is joining you.
All right.
Reese is joining you.
Cool.
And then Jackson and Krish are Detroit's.
All right. And then I'm going to end chat poll. Chat is going Thunder in this one. Good job picking the underdog, chat. Proud of you. You guys have evolved. All right, that's game number 2. Game number 3, you got Indiana hosting Washington. Indiana, 5.5-point favorite. Injuries.
Washington has Thomas Bryant and Rui out, of course. And then they are on a back-to-back, so Dinwiddie rests on the second night of back-to-back, so he is out as well. As for the Pacers, they are without TJ Warren, of course. Justin Holiday and TJ McConnell are all out of this one.
All right, who's out for the Wizards?
Dinwiddie, Bryant, and Rui.
Why is Indiana 5.5-point favorites?
I watched him played yesterday, probably. I don't know.
Indiana's so weird, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Wizards and the points.
I hate the spread so much.
Oh, Zach.
I'm gonna take the Wizards as well. Was that his pick that he put in?
No, he picked it and then deleted it. Yeah.
Oh man. What, he saw you go Wizards and he deleted the Wizards?
I don't know. Who knows?
Oh, okay. That's a justified reason. He said, sorry, I changed because I thought the Wiz were the favorite. Yeah, I would think the Wizards would be a favorite in this one too. So I get that.
The Wizards also had, Pacers. I think they lost all 3 games they played last week, and Wizards didn't do much better. So 2.
Are you sure the Pacers were a 5.5-point favorite?
Yep, positive.
Okay. That's crazy, huh? All right, what's Krish's?
Krish has the Wizards along with Reese.
All right. And then Trevin Jackson. Let's go. We got to get the show on the road.
Yeah, I don't know why it takes so long for people to pick sometimes.
Come on, Trevin. Come on, Jackson. Jackson goes Pacers. My gut is telling me Pacers. I don't know why. Trevin's going Pacers. Chat is going Wizards. The percentage will be in the chat. All right, let's move on to game number 4. We got Miami hosting Memphis.
So we got with the Grizzlies, I think Brandon Clark was just ruled out, Kyle Anderson out, John Morant out, and your boy Sam Merrill out. For the Heat, they are without Bam Adebayo, Victor Oladipo, and Markieff Morris. It looks like Jimmy Butler has been cleared to play tonight.
All right. I'm going Memphis. Krish going Memphis. What's Reese's?
Reese is Memphis as well.
What's yours?
My pick is the Miami Heat.
All right, and then I'm going to put chat poll in right now.
Zach took the Heat.
I keep hitting the wrong keys when I type, man. It's tragic. Trevin, Jackson, and chat. Get your votes in quick. We gonna roll through this as quick. This might be the most efficient picks against the spread segment for 10 games ever. That's the goal. Connor, I just said I'm putting in the chat poll. My God, don't listen to me, man. Trevin goes Heat. Honestly, normally when we have 10 games, it would take like 30 minutes and we'd be done by like 4:15. I feel like so. Try to catch up to that pace. What, 4:14? What's Jackson going with? Hart. Jackson goes with Hart. Cool. And I'm gonna end chat poll. It's Heat, not double down. There we go. All right. So me, Reese, Krish going with Memphis. Everybody else is going Heat. That sounds right, Eric?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Chicago's hosting Denver, and Chicago's a 2-point favorite.
All right. So important to listen to the injuries here because the Nuggets, of course, without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., Dozier, Austin Rivers, and Bol. Not that matters, but Bulls have Pat Williams, Kobe White, Javonte Green all out. DeRozan, late scratch in this one. Caruso, doubtful. Doesn't look like he's going to play. So DeRozan is out. I'm going to take the Nuggets.
So they got Levine, and they got Vucevic. And they got
Lonzo.
This is tough, actually.
And Derek Jones.
Oh, yeah, good old Derek Jones.
Reese took the Nuggets.
All right. And you said you went Nuggets. I'm going to go Bulls.
Okay.
I hate picking Bulls games. I'm always wrong. So I'm going to go against what my mind is telling me.
Jackson took Nuggets. Trevin Nuggets. Zach Nuggets.
Island? My first island of the season?
Chat's going to mess up your island because they love the Bulls.
55% Nuggets. I got my first island of the season. Let's go.
You're going to double down? That was the question.
Screw it. Yeah, I will. All right. Game number 6? Yeah, 6. Milwaukee's a 7.5-point favorite hosting Cleveland.
All right, so Cleveland has Wade, Dean Wade, Colin Sexton, and Dylan Windler all out of this one and are also on a back-to-back. For the Bucks, it looks like DiVincenzo, Brooke Lopez, Semi Ojeleye are all out. Hill and Grayson Allen were questionable, along with Giannis questionable. Let me just check and see if there's an update real quick before we...
All right.
I don't see an update on Giannis. Does anyone have an update so we don't have the same problem we had on Thursday?
Yeah, if somebody can find an update on Giannis, that'd be clutch. What?
I kind of feel like this spread as if Giannis plays.
Yeah.
They're kind of hedging their bets that he will or something. But
I'm going Cleveland. Let's just vote this.
All right. Yeah, game time decision. It's not till 5. Oh, well, they would have had to announce it already.
Yeah. They have to announce an hour before the game, so I guess I'll go on Twitter and search Giannis.
Chris Reese and Zach were all Cavs.
Chris Reese and Zach are Cavs, okay. I say just pick it now.
Yep.
No go backs. Giannis is like 50-50 probably, so factor that in. It's a risk.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Milwaukee.
Jackson goes Cavs. Eric goes Milwaukee. Chat poll is there now. Trevin is still waiting on Trevin. Yeah, we got 100 people in here. What's up, y'all? We'll talk, once we finish up this segment, we'll talk Simmons and Dame and Chauncey and all that. I feel like the title probably got more people in here than a normal episode of Blazers Uprise Live.
But feel free to vote for chat and picks against the spread while you wait.
Yep, if this is your first time tuning into this segment, welcome.
And just for the record, when you're voting, the spread means how much they have to win by. So if it's in this game -7.5, in order for the Bucks to win and your pick to be correct, you would have to pick, or the Bucks would have to win by 8 or more. If they win by 7 or less, or the Cavs win, then the Cavs would win this game.
Yep. Trevin goes Milwaukee.
Trevin ruins my island.
Rest in peace. All right. And it doesn't matter because chat was going to ruin your island anyway. Chat is also going with Milwaukee. So Eric, Trevin, and chat going Milwaukee. Everybody else going Cleveland. Game number 7. We got Minnesota as a 3-point favorite hosting Atlanta.
Yeah, so Atlanta, Cam Reddish just ruled out, along with Solomon Hill, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, and Okongwu. And they're on a back-to-back. The Timberwolves are without Patrick Beverly, D'Angelo Russell, and Jalen Noel. And Cat was questionable, but looks like he's active.
All right.
So no D'Lo, no Pat Bev, no Jalen Noel, and then for the Hawks, no Reddish, Bogdanovich, no Hunter are the main ones.
I assume Reese is going Minnesota.
Reese is actually in here now, I think.
What's up, Reese?
But he actually picked the Hawks.
What? That's a first.
Maybe he thought when he gave his picks that Cat wasn't going to play or something.
Yeah, that's funny.
Chris went Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Trevin goes Hawks.
Trevin and Zach are both Hawks.
Let me look at something before I make my pick. Pretty close between chat, 52% Minnesota right now.
Oh, man.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Hawks as well.
No D'Lo. Which means they're going to... No Pat Bev either. Which means they're going to start... Who are they going to start at point guard? No Noel. Who are they going to start at point guard?
I don't know. Might be forgetting someone.
Chat, who is Minnesota starting at point guard? Because Noel's out, Beverly's out, D'Lo's out. That's their 3 point guards. Jake Layman going to start at point guard. Let's go. I'm going Hawks. Jackson going Hawks. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm wondering who that's going to be. I'm going to end chat poll. 54% Minnesota. So chat and Krish alone with the T-Wolves. Game number 8.
Jordan McLaughlin?
Oh, they got Jordan McLaughlin. He's a little underrated. Phoenix is hosting San Antonio. I feel like these teams have played a lot recently. This is like their 3rd game in the past couple weeks, it seems like. Phoenix is a 7-point favorite.
All right, so San Antonio just has your boy Vassell out and Zach Collins, Devin Vassell and Zach Collins. The Suns have Nader, Saric, Kaminsky, and Devin Booker all out in this one. I'm going to take
Vassell and who?
Zach Collins.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they have Bolmaro too. I am going to take the Spurs. They've been playing really good lately, and without Booker, I think that's good.
Agreed. Jackson goes Spurs. Krish is Suns. Trevin goes Spurs.
Reese took Spurs as well. Jackson's been on that Spurs bandwagon before any of us thought it was cool.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Zach took the Spurs as well.
All right, chat. We're gonna end the poll. Spurs. Krish Island. All right, game number 9. We got Portland hosting the Clippers. The Clippers are 3-point road favorites.
So of course Kawhi's out. I haven't heard if Batum may be available, but he's been out for a while with COVID protocols. For the Blazers, Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard both out. CJ McCollum probable with a bruised rib. And Nas actually showed up as questionable. I haven't seen yet whether he's been ruled in or out yet, but chance Nas might play tonight.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the Clippers. Jackson went Clippers as well. As did Reese.
Reese Clippers. I feel like this game's going to be very competitive. I feel like this game's going to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this game's going to be close, but I'll take the Clippers. I just want to hedge my bets. I feel like Portland's going to come out mad today.
Mm-hmm.
And with CJ being probable, like I feel like CJ is going to kind of break out of his little mini slump tonight. Trevin goes Clippers. But if everybody wants to go Clippers, then I'm not going to go Blazers. I'm not going to risk having a major letdown tonight. All right, we're going to end poll for chat. It's Clippers, but not double down territory. And then game number 10, We got Golden State hosting Orlando. Golden State, biggest spread of the season. They're favored by 16 points.
So the Magic are, of course, without Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Michael Carter-Williams, Etuan Moore, and Jalen Suggs for this one. The Warriors are without Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, and Andre Iguodala.
This is tough just because the spread's so high.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does Golden State win by 20? I could see Golden State win by 13. They just lost to the Spurs. I mean, I don't know, man. Yes, Connor, this is a Blazers channel. Was somebody confused otherwise? Chris is going Magic. This is also his double down.
All right. That's cool. Reese is going Magic as well.
I'll go with Golden State.
God, I hate these high spreads. The smart thing is just take the points, but the Magic are so bad sometimes. Mm-hmm. They're okay other times, but
so Anthony's playing, you said?
Yeah. So at least what I saw, he wasn't listed on the injury report. I'll take the Magic.
All right. Zach goes Warriors. Jackson goes with Magic.
Man, I don't even know who Zachary is anymore. He takes the Warriors and bets against the Blazers.
Yeah, man, he's changing before our eyes. I mean, he's in 4th place out of 8. The standings are right there, but I don't know. He wants to do better, I guess. We're going to end poll. It's Warriors for chat. Alrighty, let's jump into the double downs. Split vote on this one. I'm going with my island, which is the Bulls. Chris is going Magic. What else we got? What do we got for chat?
We got Reese.
Reese is in here, so I'll let him pick. What for chat?
Chat, I believe. I was just waiting for that percentage on the last one. I believe it's the 81% of the Washington Wizards is double down.
Okay. Clippers for Zach. He says easy money. Wow, the Clippers are going to win by 2 tonight. That's upsetting. Jing, double downs means at the end, right? So each game, if you pick it right, you get a win. If you pick it wrong, you get a loss. For double downs, we pick one of our choices to double down on, which means it will be worth 2 wins or 2 losses. So it's supposed to be the game you're most confident in, but sometimes, like, say, I'm on an island here with Chicago. A lot of people, if they are on an island and the only person to pick a team will double down on you know, their lone pick on their island. So I'm doubling down Chicago for that reason.
Did you hear me that I'm going Nuggets?
Are you going Nuggets? Okay. Yeah. Does that make sense? Hopefully I explained that well.
And unless Reese changes his, he's also Nuggets.
Yeah. Sometimes we're a little late. Like 3 games have already started. For chat, it's just determined off whichever team got the highest percentage. So as long as we start before the game tips off, we're fine for chat. And then I tell my mods to not look at scores. And I trust them. Jackson going Spurs. Normally we're not this late, though. Traffic delayed us by about 30 minutes here. Trevin's going Philly.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Trevin, you better not have looked at the score, my guy.
All right, yeah, we got everyone.
All right, well, who's Reese's double down?
Nuggets.
Okay, you and Reese are Nuggets?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That is the double downs. That is picks against the spread. Everybody different double downs except Eric and Reese.
Trevin did not look at the score.
Okay, well, Trevin is confirmed trustworthy for the rest of the season. Or he just wanted us to trust him so that he could get away with it for the rest of the season. Anyway, that is Picks Against the Spread. Here are the standings one more time for anybody that wasn't here at the start. Jackson is leading things right now. Still pretty bunched up, though. All right, let's get into the meat of the show. We got to talk about the news that leaked today, Eric. Damian Lillard, according to sources, wants to play with Ben Simmons. Mm-hmm. And, well, first off, do you believe this, or do you not?
I believe that he would be... Yeah, I think he would like to play with Ben Simmons. I don't know if he's come out and... Because obviously that means you have to trade CJ pretty much to make it happen, so I don't know if he's come out and told, like, the new GM, like, hey, I want you to trade for Ben Simmons. So I don't know if it's gone that far, but I could definitely... I mean, he just said the other day that he's in his top 3 for defensive players. The other ones that he mentioned aren't available. So Ben Simmons is, if you want, we have these problems on defense or whatever, so it would make sense that he would want to bring him in just to bring some more talent on the team. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and Dame praised Simmons' defense in the Reddit interview. At this point, I'm on board getting Ben Simmons. I think there's a lot of issues that could arise that people aren't giving enough credence to. I think the people that think he's just kind of an automatic fix for a bunch of things, I feel like they're not realizing some things that will be issues if you go out and get Ben Simmons, but at this point... just with how things are looking right now, I am down to go out and get Ben Simmons. I've soured on CJ, I've soured on Rocco, so I'd even be willing to attach both those guys to get Ben Simmons, just to get something different, and it would show Dame, okay, we're trying to surround you with a guy you want, and go from there.
You know what I would be happy about with the Ben Simmons trade?
What's that?
So, obviously we've talked about before, he doesn't, in my opinion, necessarily solve any problems. It just changes them to different problems. And in my opinion,
kind of rearranges things.
It might be kind of nice for you and me to be able to break down a different set of problems than regurgitating the same ones every night. So instead of our point of attack defense being horrible, we can focus on another part of our defense that sucks because we have all this attention paid.
Look at how Ben Simmons just locked up Ish Smith off the dribble, right? No surprise there, but yet, I don't know, Larry Nance Jr. is 20 feet off his guy one pass away because he's used to having Damian Lillard guard Ish Smith and he was worried about a drive.
Yeah.
And Ish Smith kicked it out for a wide open 3. Nothing Ben Simmons could do. You'll get situations like that. Because here's the thing. Our bigs and our forwards are used to having to help all the time because we give up so much dribble penetration. I feel like it will take some time, if we did trade for Ben Simmons, for those guys to just not overreact to the ball. It'll take some time for them to be like, okay, Ben Simmons is guarding the ball. I don't need to be this far off my guy. He doesn't need as much help as Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum did. Good luck to CJ in Philadelphia, right? So that's the thing, is if you have Dame on the ball, you got to be more ready to help than if you had a Ben Simmons on the ball. So that would be something to look for if we did make that trade.
Honestly, though, I think that's a little bit what's going on with Rocco this year. Is he's so used to all last year having to overhelp and be in situations because we're so bad defending those things, so he had to be out of position a lot so he could compensate for that, and he doesn't have to this year, and I think he's really struggling with just staying in one spot and not having to help or swipe at the ball or whatever. So I could definitely see an adjustment period after that, but obviously having better defenders on the floor allow you to run more schemes and stuff like that, so might be a good thing. I've come around on it too. I still don't think it's a great fit, but I think I'm ready for just something different.
We need guys that are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we don't have enough guys that are hungry, and you can see it with our defense. You can see it with the lack of effort defensively.
Yeah.
And Ben Simmons comes here, and he's going to want to prove that he wasn't the issue in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder that he's never had before, right? Because he's always been... Yeah, I mean...
I don't
like,
see
logically,
why he would, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, if he didn't have a chip on his shoulder coming to Portland after everything that's gone down in Philadelphia, then there was something seriously wrong with him mentally. Like, even players without much pride, after everything that's gone down, like, he hypothetically should come in very hungry and ready to prove himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to come in, I think, playing harder than pretty much anybody on this team is playing right now. So that'll be good. Dame is kind of the vet leader, mentor he needs, and Dame wants to play with him. And, you know, there's a clip that went viral of him and Nurkic trash talking on the court a few years ago, but now they're both Clutch clients, and, you know, Nurkic has said nice things about him on Twitter and whatnot. So overall, you bring him into the fold, and he could be that guy, Eric, that like sets the tone from an energy department, right? Especially on the defensive end. And we don't have that guy right now. I would prefer a guy who, you know, doesn't have the questions of quitting on his team in the playoffs, like I think Ben Simmons did, and all the offensive question marks that come with him. And you know, Draymond Green, personality-wise, I think would be perfect for this team because he isn't afraid to get on his teammates, and he will light a fire under his teammates if they're slacking defensively, if they're not playing with enough effort, right? Ben Simmons isn't that, but you know, he's an on-ball defender, and we need that right now. Dame and CJ and even Norm at times are getting driven by a little bit too much. I think, you know, we should be a better defense anyways with that happening. We make a lot of silly mistakes off the ball. That's kind of the one thing that doesn't make sense to me. That's where we're losing focus. We're not closing out hard enough. We're lazily running by shooters when we close out, that type of stuff. I think it's fixable, but in terms of, you know, CJ McCollum getting blown by, I think some of it is a little bit of a lack of effort. Some of it is he's not necessarily the quickest laterally. So to bring in somebody that can defend the ball would obviously be the reason to make that sort of deal. And it might invigorate, if we still had Rocco after the trade, it might invigorate him because now he doesn't have to help all the time against guards who are driving because there's perimeter breakdowns. I think it would just be a good thing for the team to have morale-wise. It would be nice mentally for the team to just have a defender like that you can just throw against Steph Curry or a Kawhi Leonard or even a Nikola Jokic. He can guard all positions at a high level. It would be nice for the team to have that guy to throw against those guys, and might help the morale of the defense if you went and traded for a Ben Simmons and he could set the tone energy-wise. So that would be intriguing to see. I feel like that could be a positive.
Yeah, and I don't think you said this, but Ben Simmons actually liked the post of him and Dame in Blazer uniforms today as well. So I think that puts to bed any risk of him not wanting to be here or whatever. And, you know, we're close enough to LA to where if that's where he really wants to be, he's not going to go to the Clippers. The Clippers or Lakers don't have anything to trade for him. So
yeah,
he's close enough there to, you know, if he wants to go to LA on off nights or so, I don't know. But yeah, so I've come around on it. I'm absolutely open to having CJ and Rocco. The Shams article today talked about how we offered CJ and one of Ant or Nas and a first-round pick. This would have had to have been before the season or before the Nance trade.
Would they rather have Rocco over Ant/Nas?
I don't know. That's tough. I'm
hoping.
I
I'd
think
rather give up Rocco than Ant or Nas.
Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with Rocco and CJ. For Ben, Philly would have to include some more salary going out to make it work. Only a few million, but they'd have to include someone. There was a lot of talk this morning about Danny Green, which I think would be excellent if we somehow got Danny Green and Ben Simmons for Rocco and and CJ, because then we could slide Danny Green into that starting small forward spot, and I think we'd be pretty good. That would be adding another good defender, and yeah, I think we'd be ready to roll then. The only problem with that trade is we don't save enough money to get under the tax. We only save about 800,000 in that trade, so.
I would rather have a small forward that can defend fours. I would rather have a forward next to Simmons that can defend fours, because then you can slide Simmons down to smaller perimeter players easier, since you could slide the 3 up to the 4. Danny Green isn't that guy, so I mean, I'd take him back in that package, but I would rather look for something else at the small forward position.
I mean, honestly, we're not going to be able to be picky like that, I don't think. So we pretty much have to take whatever back if we're just talking about that kind of straight up. But the better player that comes back either through them or through a third team, the more we'll probably have to give up. And then we're talking about, Nas or Ants or more first and unprotecting all of them to make it work and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how to make that all work, but yeah, I don't know. I would take Green back if they were comfortable still being in the tax after that trade. If not, you might just have to. I mean, I'm not saying I want this, but go to a team like New Orleans who has a guy like Garrett Temple making, I think it's about $4.8 million, and you just take him back in the trade if they want to get rid of his salary or whatever, and then you just have an extra wing, like a bench wing, that puts you under the cap, but also like just gets you a vet to cover a little bit of what kind of similar to Danny Green. Yeah. Poor man Danny Green, only we get completely under the tax that way.
Yeah. I feel like Philadelphia would rather have Rocco. Morey has traded for him before when he was in Houston, before he quit on them. And Rocco obviously played in Philadelphia, was, I think, a bit of a fan favorite there in Philadelphia. So, you get a CJ McCollum perimeter scoring guard, 20-point-per-game scorer, and then you bring back Robert Covington, superb 3-and-D guy in Philadelphia fans' minds. Now, not in Blazer fans' minds this year, because he hasn't been that good defensively, but I don't know if Morey is like the type of guy I feel like wouldn't really realize how bad Rocco has been this season, and even if he did, you could pitch Rocco to the Philadelphia fan base like he's just a superb 3-and-D guy. So, and if you get a pick back too, I feel like that would be a trade that Philadelphia, I think, might have to take. Even if you include Danny Green in there. And, without Danny Green, we get under the tax. We'd have to figure out who our starting 3 would be. But I think that's the most likely deal would be CJ, Rocco, and a pick for Simmons.
Just for the record, Danny Green cannot be traded till December 15th. So you have to wait until, next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Before he's eligible, so that could be another reason why Ben has not been traded yet.
Kid interruption.
Sorry. Yeah. But I think that's the best of both worlds. And then just for the record, in order to trade that first round pick, we'd have to call Chicago and change the protections on that and have them agree to whatever we offered them.
Yeah.
Might have to give them some incentive to do some. What?
Can I play outside?
All right, so Eric obviously getting interrupted here. Honestly, Eric, and we've talked about this, if Philadelphia doesn't value Rocco, maybe it's a situation where Rocco goes to Chicago, we get our pick back, and then we trade whatever combination of firsts, because we would have all our future firsts then.
Their pick just goes to...
Well, that's what I'm saying, like a 3-team deal where CJ goes to Philly, Simmons goes to Portland, and then you throw in Rocco to Chicago. We obviously, our 2022 first-round pick is owed to Chicago. They might want a Patrick Williams replacement in the starting lineup. Obviously, they'd have to send salary back. Maybe that's, I don't know, Derrick Jones Jr. to Philadelphia, because I don't think we can reacquire him just yet. I think that's for the entire year. So it'd be kind of iffy, but it's a situation where maybe you could get back Portland their 2022 first, and then you could send that and a 2024 first, and you can arrange it however you want, because here's the deal. The 2022 first owed to Chicago is lottery protected through like 2027. So what that means is if Portland finishes in the lottery this year, their 2022 first round pick doesn't go to Chicago. They would then owe their 2023 first round pick to Chicago,
and we get to make the pick for our team in 2020.
Yeah, we'd keep our 2022 first because it's lottery protected. So if we finish in the lottery, we keep our 2022 first. It would then turn into a 2023 first that we owed Chicago. That's also lottery protected. So if we finish the lottery again, then it would become a 2024 first round pick. Now here's the deal: you cannot trade first round picks in back-to-back years. And that pick that we owe Chicago is protected through like 2027. So we can't just trade a 2025 first round pick because the pick we owe Chicago might end up becoming a 2025 first round pick due to all the protections. So we can't trade any future firsts because it's protected through 2027, and you can't trade picks past 2028. We can't trade any future firsts without sorting out the protections that on the pick that Portland owes Chicago. So it's a situation where they might make that pick unprotected, which is risky if you're Portland, because then if you're in the lottery and maybe get into the top 4 through the ping pong balls, if you don't have your pick, that's a worst case scenario. That's very risky. But I mean, Portland could go to Chicago and say, hey, well, you get our 2022 first round pick unprotected if you want. And if Chicago agrees, then Portland would then be free to trade their 2024 first round pick to Philadelphia in a trade. But that's what's messy. So it could be a situation where if Chicago wants a Patrick Williams replacement, kind of the same sort of role, maybe they want Rocco, and Portland could just get their 2022 first round pick that they owe Chicago back. And of course, that was the pick they traded with Derrick Jones Jr. in the 3-team trade that sent Markkanen to Cleveland and Larry Nance Jr. to Portland. So maybe you get that pick back, and then you can arrange the protections in multiple future firsts to Philadelphia however you want in a Ben Simmons trade.
Yeah, or Boston could absorb Rocco without having to go with a salary. So maybe you don't get your own pick back, but you get a lottery protected first from Boston that you include in the that goes to Philly somehow. So you have to be creative. I don't know why, because the 76ers are in win now mode. So I don't know why they wouldn't want Rocco. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I think Boston and Chicago stand out to me as two teams that could really use a power forward and a defensive-minded one, and that someone who might fit in a little better with their, like, especially Chicago has a little bit better perimeter defenders with Caruso and Lonzo Ball than we have, so maybe Rocco off ball is a lot better for them. And then same with Boston with Smart, and Tatum's not a bad defender. Jaylen Brown's not a bad defender. So maybe he fits in a lot better in their schemes than he would with us. And maybe those GMs can notice that and realize that he's being kind of wasted here or whatever. And maybe they don't realize some of the effort issues or whatever. So, that's what I would look to do if Philly doesn't want him. But I'm assuming they do. But yeah, because they don't. Philly probably doesn't want the picks. They just want more than just CJ, right? So that logically means picks, and then they can use those in other trades or whatever. Because Morey likes to make all-in moves, so he'd probably use those to flip someone else, or maybe trade Tobias Harris and picks for someone really good, or something down the line. But yeah, it's a case where I think it's like if CJ for Simmons was even straight up possible, it would happen. But it's probably a case where, like we heard about this summer, Philly wants 3 picks and 3 pick swaps on top of CJ, so they obviously don't value CJ anywhere close to Ben Simmons, rightfully so probably. But yeah, so it might be kind of difficult to get picks. I really don't want to include a bunch of picks, and I really don't want to make that Chicago pick unprotected, because if we bring in Ben Simmons and we are wrong, and let's say we finish in the 7th seed and lose both playing games and then get in the lottery, and yeah, that would be very bad, considering we'd probably owe at least 2, if not 3 future unprotected picks for getting Ben Simmons. Then to not make the playoffs and lose all your, or not all of them, but every other first for the next 2 or 3 years, that would be tough, in my opinion, to handle. So I would try to get it done with just CJ and Rocco. And I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of other teams knocking on the door right now. I mean, you always hear of teams interested, but those teams aren't obviously giving up much either. Otherwise, they might have made a deal by now. So I don't think you have to give in to their demands. But the part to me that was a little frustrating about this whole thing is it makes us look just as desperate as them. So it's kind of frustrating that we had all the leverage seemingly in a Ben Simmons trade or whatever team trades with them, but now we look just as bad as they do in this situation.
Yeah, we'll have more time to discuss Ben Simmons stuff in the next couple of weeks, as I don't think anything's going to happen anytime soon. So that's just kind of the lowdown on the situation from Portland's end and Philadelphia's end. Let's talk about Chauncey, because it was also reported that there's growing tension with between Chauncey Billups and the players. And Damian Lillard quote tweeted and said, or quote tweeted somebody's response to it and said, "These people just love drama." Okay.
Oh, it didn't say people.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically that. It's a situation where I think there's some truth to it, though. CJ, when I was at the Pistons game, man, and Chauncey was getting on CJ for something defensively, and CJ just looked like he wasn't having it. He just kind of, body language-wise, it was not what you want to see. I do think there's some tension between some of the players on this roster and Chauncey. I believe that's true.
So you didn't read the article, I take it?
I did not read the article. I did not have time. Was there more to it?
No, it was actually, the headline was misleading.
Was it misleading? Okay,
yeah.
What was the...
So they took his comments after the game, specifically talking about the Celtics bench and Peyton Pritchard clowning them, and they meant that as Chauncey thought people had given up carrying on the team, when he was specifically talking about that in a game situation with our third string guys or whatever. So they used that quote, and then they also tried to make it seem like Dame wanted Jason Kidd, not Chauncey Billups, and was mad that we hired Chauncey Billups. So it had nothing, there was nothing else in the article about tensions with players and Chauncey other than that quote.
I still think there's tension.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying the article itself only mentioned that Dame did not want Chauncey, I guess, and that, which doesn't make any sense, and that's why, hence the quote from Dame on Twitter.
If that's the case, that's a ridiculous article, and there's a lot of ridiculous media stuff, but I still think that there is some sort of tension, and watching them in person, it was a little bit easier to see kind of interactions between Chauncey and a guy like CJ. But I don't think it's necessarily Chauncey's fault, right? I think Chauncey might be being a little bit too honest with the media, which is weird because Stotts was the complete opposite way and it drove us crazy. But I think at some point, I think he's being a little bit too honest with the media in terms of these guys aren't playing with these guys aren't competitive. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically these guys aren't playing with energy. These guys aren't competitive. Multiple games in a row. He's kind of saying that. And if it's not helping the team, he doesn't necessarily need to say it. I want a coach who's honest and willing to hold players accountable. But if talking to the media and kind of calling it out in the media a little bit in terms of the lack of energy and some of the laziness isn't helping players on the team, I think he might be best served to just rein that in a little bit. But it's a situation where these players aren't playing with energy. They're playing lazy, and they need to be held accountable for that. And if Chauncey's holding them accountable, whatever way it may be, in the media, behind closed doors, whatever. If Chauncey's holding their lack of energy and effort accountable, and it's a situation where those guys are responding by continuing to slack off, and those guys feel some sort of way about it, and there's tension between the coach and the players because the coach is holding the players accountable, then it's a situation where those players need to go. Mm-hmm. It's not on the coach, because we got away, like, Terry Stotts last year just let players do whatever offensively. I mean, our offense was the worst offense in terms of ball movement, in terms of passing. It was a very selfish offense with Dame and CJ just kind of creating everything. And some of that wasn't necessarily them being selfish. Like, a lot of that was just by design. We just ran pick and roll and ISO'd and didn't try to implement anything else. But that's exactly my point, is now you have Chauncey who comes in, he wants more ball movement, he wants more player movement. He talked about it, and, you know, he's trying to do things a little bit differently. Under Terry Stotts, players could just freelance offensively with no accountability. They could do whatever they wanted offensively, they could take bad shots, and I don't think Stotts said a word to them. And then defensively, they played the laziest defensive scheme they could 99% of the time, which is drop scheme, where you just drop the big and the guard doesn't even have to fight through the pick. They just kind of trail the ball handler and nobody has to help because you got the big parked in the paint and you're just willingly giving up at times threes, but mostly mid-range jump shots. Right now we're playing a scheme that requires a lot more effort from guys. We're blitzing the pick and roll, which means you got to fill in the gaps behind that, which means off-ball defensively you got to cover ground. So you have to put in more effort. You have to play with more energy. Last year, we played lazy. Like, what we did last year was lazy, and players got used to that. And this year, now they're being asked to do a lot more, and I don't think they've responded well to that. I think Chauncey's trying to do the right things, but he doesn't have every player on his roster that's fully bought into doing those things and holding themselves accountable and playing with the energy necessary to do what Chauncey's trying to do. I honestly think it's more so, if there's tension between the players and the coach, it's more so due to the players not handling more being asked of them well.
Yeah, so in my mind, everything Chauncey said is how you win, right? Mm-hmm. And Chauncey knows that. He's won a championship. He had great success in a team-based system. His team that won a championship is considered one of the least like star-heavy teams and more like teams that ever won a championship, right? And they did it through like hard work and like togetherness and all that kind of stuff, right? And so he says all the right things and stuff like that. So to me, basically, if there are people resisting what he wants or they're resisting accountability, they never wanted to win anyway, and they just wanted to get their stats and their numbers. And that's really disappointing to me. I was hoping that even if a certain player, I mean, I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to name specific names, but, you know, some of these guys had several years of getting their stats and being able to do whatever they wanted to and losing in the first round, stuff like that. I would hope that by this time they would not care about that as much and care about doing whatever it takes to maybe not be in that position to win. And that's just the frustrating part. It's like I want everyone, and I was thinking, you know, everyone said it on media day. Every single one of them said accountability. You know, that was the word of the day. And it seemed like they were all going to be willing to be held accountable because they all wanted to be better. But if you're having problems with a coach that's strict, that tries to teach accountability, in my opinion, that means you're not capable of doing what it takes to win. And like you said, I want those players out of here if that's the case. So I think that's where, you know, if anything, I can admit I was wrong that I thought this team would care more about winning than they seem to show so far this year. And that was a bad judgment on my part. And
I mean, but nobody can predict that.
But
you know what I mean? Like,
the worst part about it, though, Tori, is like this team is still really good, and it's still only a couple games out of being right where we thought they could be if they just get their act together, and they don't have these injuries and stuff, of course.
Yeah,
but
and with injuries last year, they tied for 5th playing a way that isn't really conducive for winning, and we tied for 5th in the West.
And we had a super easy schedule during that time when we're missing CJ and Nurk. It's not like we're beating teams.
Yeah, but it's like still, like even with all our issues last year, we still tied for 5th. I mean, that should show you, like, this roster is not as bad as people say. People will say this roster is terrible. It's not terrible. And here's the thing. This team has had games where they've been fully bought in defensively, and they've had really good defensive games. Not recently, but at the start of the season, there are games where, they're still learning the new system, but there's games where they're bought in defensively, played with energy, and there are games where CJ played really good defense. I mean, the defense CJ played on Devin Booker, I know it's only the second game of the year, but you go back and watch that, and then you watch CJ the past few games, he's night and day different defensively. There's a night and day difference there. So, I mean, that's part of the reason why it's like, I've seen these guys when they're locked in and trying defensively play solid defense. That's why I don't think they're incapable of being a solid defensive team. That's why I think they're not playing with energy and not focused right now, because now all of a sudden, they're making mental mistakes and doing all these lazy things on the court. We talk about it on post-game shows. We go in depth as to what those lazy things are, but you can see the difference recently compared to some of the games they had earlier in the season. And then when you look at the home and the road differential defensively, I mean, after our first 10 games, we were like the 8th best defense at home and the worst defense in the league on the road. That there shouldn't be anywhere near that drastic of a difference defensively unless there's something more. And home court gives you energy. They played with energy at home the first 10 games defensively. Yeah. On the road, they didn't have that energy and they were horrible. So that's why I think that's the issue. And Chauncey said it too, and Chauncey's called it out on post-game press conferences. So that's pretty much the issue right now. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Like, something that has to change, and it's on the players for not holding themselves accountable energy-wise, and it's on the players for trying to figure things out and holding themselves to a standard where they're going to bring it every night defensively. And you got guys on this team who I believe aren't in that mindset, or don't have that winning mentality. So that's where I sit here just tying things back. I don't think it's like there's nothing Chauncey can do for that. If he's holding them accountable and they're not responding well, then I mean, well, I don't know what else Chauncey can really do, and if it's a situation where that's the case, then you need to ship him out, and that's why I'm more on board with a Ben Simmons trade to tie everything together.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not Dame, and anyone who says it's Dame or Dame doesn't like Billups, man, this guy just a couple weeks ago sat in a press conference saying he was 10 toes in and that he wants to win for Billups, and he's loving playing for him so far, all this stuff. Just go watch that post game when Billups got his first win, and look how happy Dame was for him and stuff like that. Like, you can't fake that emotion, and like, there's no way. And on top of all that, when Dame listed the two coaches he wanted, it wasn't like he only listed Jason Kidd. Chauncey Billups was the other guy he mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't want Chauncey Billups. So I think that's just completely wrong. And the whole article was basically from an angle that Dame will eventually want to leave or whatever. And so I get why people have that angle, but and why, if you think that way, their assumptions were probably correct. So you're writing an article based on assumptions that you think are reasonable because you think Dame will eventually get tired of the situation. Oh, he wanted out this summer, right? So he's going to eventually want out more and more as this gets worse, right? Whereas Dame is just different, and he's probably thinking I mean, if you're truly all in through thick and thin, ups and downs and stuff, you're not like you're not going through ups and downs. You're in it completely. And I think Dame's just that way. I think he recommitted himself. I don't think he's thinking about leaving or requesting a trade by the trade deadline like this article might suggest. And it's just all BS. I think he's ready for a change, though. That's the only thing I've taken out of this is I think he's more welcome than to just completely revamping the roster around him than he has ever been at any point. He might not have even allowed that, a year ago, but now he's completely on board, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's people that don't take Dame for his word are kind of disrespectful, and especially the people that are like, Dame needs to realize what's best for him. Dame knows what's best for him.
Right.
I tweeted about that. Follow me at Torrey Jones YT, TOREY Jones YT on Twitter. Eric's at Hoops Jock. Pluralized hoops. Hoops Jock. But you have people who... Trevin, that was unnecessary. That was unnecessary, Trevin. You have people who want Dame out. And all their narratives.
One of his comments, then.
What? I missed one of his comments.
Yeah.
Where? I only saw one. Which was, I don't know. I don't know where the other one is.
Talked about your virginity.
Okay, hide him. You're right. Good job, Trevin. I didn't see that. I should have trusted you. I should have trusted
the Blazers. Dame said he wanted to leave F the Blazers.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I didn't see that. I just saw the only message I saw from him was Brooklyn winning it. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I thought that's what you got hit for. Anyway, yeah, good job. Yeah, good job, Trevin.
Come on, trust Trevin. Trevin doesn't usually hide people.
I looked up a ways, man, and I didn't see anything, so I don't know. I guess he's been in here for a while. I still don't see anything. I don't know. Maybe it hit it from me.
It was literally right above where he hit him the first time.
Weird. I didn't see that. It's not showing up for me, so interesting. Anyway, people want Dame out, and their narratives are going to go along those lines. Their narratives are going to be that Dame's unhappy, and Dame's going to request out, and if you're a Knicks fan with an ESPN show, you're going to say Dame wants to go to the Knicks, and all sorts of crap, right? I'm going to get my information straight from Dame himself. And until he says otherwise, Dame ain't going. Dame ain't leaving, right? So we just gotta we just gotta wait and see if this team is able to make a splash move. Hopefully that's the case. I don't know. It's not the sky. It's not like the sky is falling as much as people will act like. So I forgot what other point I was gonna make. Oh well. Anyway, anything else that you have to say about this entire situation? We'll talk about it more probably on the post-game show tonight.
Yeah, I feel like Dame's ready for a trade.
What?
No,
trade
for around him, but he's not.
I thought you were
anywhere.
trolling
He's
me.
Not, Dame doesn't want to be traded.
I thought that's what you meant.
He wants, and anyone saying rebuild, I mean, I just think it's so. That would be so dumb to trade Dame right now. First of all, he deserves to be here as long as he wants. As long as he doesn't request a trade, I don't give a crap if it's the best thing we can do for our roster. That guy has earned a lifetime here. As Uznain asked, should we offer him the max next year, the super max again when he's eligible for a 2-year extension on that? Yes, absolutely. So Grandma says hi in chat. So he deserves it, and you don't just trade players like that. I don't care if we got back 18, the Thunder gave us all 18 of their future first round picks, right? So as long as Dame wants to be here, we keep him here. And Yeah. So
Your focus is gone.
yeah.
Our
Sorry.
focus is gone.
And then Dame owes it like at least one chance to see what he could do with a slightly different roster as well. So, you first trade CJ and trade other guys and just give him some different players to play with and see if it works, you know? Ben Simmons is a good example of that because he's like complete opposite player of CJ. So like at least you could try something completely like that Dame has never done before, you know?
And here's the thing, you can always start a rebuild.
Yeah.
You can always hit the rebuild button. Why you gotta hit it now? People say, oh, it's the best option now. What, like, why don't you actually try something that you've never tried to do with Dame, which is trade CJ? And go out and get a Ben Simmons or get a Pascal Siakam or get something. Like, and if that doesn't work, next offseason, sure. Maybe you hit the rebuild button if Dame wants to. But here's the thing, when you have superstars that are loyal to you, you gotta be loyal to them.
Yeah.
So if Dame wants to be here and Dame wants to win, you have to respect that.
Because honestly, if Dame doesn't request a trade and we trade him thinking that's best for our future, what superstar would ever want to come to Portland again knowing that they had someone that was completely loyal to them and he was like, nah, our front office was like, yeah, who cares? We're going to get rid of you anyway. Like after all he's done for Portland in this city. So yeah, it's a case where that guy gets a lifetime contract in my mind as long as he wants to be here, and you don't risk making that mad. And then from an ownership perspective, I mean, look at these last few games. Like people are souring on the Blazers. They don't care, but it's because Dame hasn't been there. At least if you have Dame, you can sell more tickets and that kind of stuff. So like it's worth it from a business perspective too, not to trade him. Because if we go into full rebuild, I know a lot of like hardcore fans are fine with that, but like a lot of fringe fans will not be okay with the rebuild. And on top of that, even if you do get 18 first-round picks, you're not going to get a guy as good as Dame. That's so hard to do. Like he's a top 10 player. Like we've had maybe 4 in the history, 52 years, 52 seasons of this franchise. Bill Walton, he got hurt after a couple of years, you know, wins MVP and wins a title for us, but then gets hurt and never really is the same again and then leaves that offseason. Brandon Roy started out, you know, goes to 3 straight All-Star games and then gets, battled injuries the whole time. Never really was able to do that. So he's like kind of the fringe 4th one if you want to include that. And that leaves Drexler as a longtime one who eventually requested a trade and wanted out. And then we have Damian Lillard, and that's it in 52 years. Like, it's not that easy to find players like Damian Lillard. So, I mean, there's been lots of other good players throughout that time, but it's not easy to find a top 10 player. And it's even harder to find a top 10 player that after his rookie contract still wants to be here and will commit to you for longer than the 8 years or 9 years that you can give to him. And I'm not slandering LaMarcus Aldridge. He's fine. Like, he's a good player, but he's not anywhere near the level of Dame, Drexler, Roy, or Walton were. So, especially like Shervin says, in a market like Portland, you don't want to do that. So, like, it's not a case where you rebuild. Like, you try to make it work with him, and if it doesn't work, the chances were still greater that you make it work with him than it will ever be trying to rebuild. And let's say we get like 8 draft picks and we make the best picks with all those picks. We're still not even guaranteed to be better than we are this year. We could still be like a 500 team and mediocre or whatever. Like, it doesn't even, like, I don't know. Because, like, we got those draft picks. We got the Roy draft. We got both Roy and Aldridge. And then the next year we get Greg Oden. You know, we have 4, top 7 picks in 2 drafts. And that team didn't even win a playoff series, you know? Like, they didn't even win one single playoff series. And I know it's because of injuries, but, like, that's, like, you don't give up on these opportunities. And Dame's not. It's not like he's 35 or something. Like he's still young enough to do it. It's so frustrating to me just to hear all these people say like, "Oh, it'd be best for our team." No, it wouldn't. It would be absolutely a disaster for us.
Yeah, and people always look at the success stories and ignore the failures from a rebuild, right? You'll say, "Oh, but look at the Mavericks. They got Luka." Right? Well, now the Mavericks aren't bad enough to be in the lottery, and they don't have anything but a fringe playoff team. Right? Who's their second best player? Kristaps? How are they going to get a better player than Kristaps? They're gonna what? Sign somebody? Guess what? If it was Portland, you're not signing anyone. Mm-hmm. So Dallas, through their rebuild, is now essentially in the same position as us, as we are right now. Right? They just have more time to try and figure it out. But in terms of like assets and whatnot, they gotta wait. They still owe their 2023 first round pick, right? To New York. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's just a situation where like, okay, cool. I mean, the Hawks right now are not bad enough to get another like superstar player. They would have to sign or trade for one. They have more young talent, so maybe that's possible. But it's like, but those are the best success stories: are Trae Young and Luka. Who was the guy taken between Trae Young and Luka?
Jaren Jackson, wasn't it?
Jaren Jackson, okay, that's solid. I was thinking it was like Josh Jackson or I mean, look at fourth picks previous years. Josh Jackson, Dragon Bender. I mean, nobody talks about that.
And honestly, the Mavs are 500 right now. The Hawks are 500. Like we're only a game or half a game behind those guys. Like it's not like we're that. It seems like the sky is falling right now. But like you just mentioned those teams, and they're not better than us. So Blazers report the same as the Jazz, and see that's an interesting story because that's how you make a move. And that's what's frustrating about the Zach Collins pick and him getting hurt is because in that draft, Utah had the 24th pick. They didn't have the 13th pick, but they made a great trade with Denver, and Denver doesn't get any heat for this. I never hear anyone complain other than when I bring it up or you bring it up. But Denver could have taken Bam or Donovan Mitchell as well, or John Collins or whatever. And they traded it back and took what's his name, Tyler Lydon or something, and got
Tyler Lydon
and Trey Lyles. So they traded the 13th pick for the 24th pick and Trey Lyles in that draft. And then they had made a horrible selection who was out of the league within a year or two. And then, so Utah gets Donovan Mitchell out of it. The San Antonio Spurs, they had George Hill. They trade it for the 15th pick to the Indiana Pacers. They get Kawhi Leonard. Like, so you can still make moves for that, but it's always moves like that for small market teams. It's not trading Dame and building off of picks or whatever. The Spurs already had a really good team when they had an injured David Robinson and got the first pick, and then ended up getting Tim Duncan or whatever. It wasn't like they traded David Robinson and all their good players and then eventually built through the draft again, you know? And then they built a lot of their draft through like late first and second round picks like Manu and Tony Parker and stuff like that. So it doesn't. These teams like the Kings and the Timberwolves like never make the playoffs. They're always like scrub teams, and it drives me crazy that people think that that's like the perfect solution. No, let's get rid of a top 75 player of all time because he's 31 and we can maybe get some good stuff for him. Like that's just a really stupid way to run your franchise, in my opinion.
Yep. Leave a like on the stream. It helps us out. We gotta run. We'll be live again tonight with the post-game show. Check the pinned comment in chat for the link to our main channel in case you're new to us. We do post-game shows on our main channel. This is our second channel, streaming live Mondays and Thursdays, going live around 3:30. Sometimes if we're late, closer to 4 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll have the post-game show tonight. We'll talk Blazers Clippers. We'll talk more about this situation. We'll take some of your questions on the post-game show. We have more time later tonight for that type of stuff, so definitely tune in for that. Anything else you want to say, Eric?
No, hopefully the Blazers show up tonight and I just at least have a competitive game. Don't get blown out by 20 or 30 points, please. Like, can we have some pride?
Yep. Alex, I don't have time to explain that right now, but I've explained it multiple times in the past. Ask me again when I have more time. Maybe next stream I'll give you the answer for that. Or DM me. I can... my Twitter is at ToreyJonesYT. Torey Jones YT. Eric is at HoopsJock. Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in for this stream. Hopefully we'll be able to catch you tonight. Until then, have a good one. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.